Yo, welcome back, guys, to another game in the Welcome to Mecha 1500 series. Grind to 15 hundo. And my arbitrary checkpoint is if you can get 1500 in this game, you probably have a general idea of what you're doing. I feel like that's like that's like the line where you go from being a beginner to like now you're, I would say, intermediate at this game probably. If you can get to that point. All right, we'll do a cost control. It's high. No, we'll do Sabretooth. Just kidding. We'll do Sabretooth. It's the highest health. And I love cost control, but highest HP. It also spreads out our choices. I think we've played Saber before. I might not have in this guide. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we have Sabretooth spec, which means we get a Saber at level 3. Or on round 3, sorry, we get a free Sabretooth, and each time we have a Saber, they have cheaper upgrades. It incentivizes you to use them, but it's not mandatory. Our opponent's training spec with Hounds and Balls, I really like their opener. It's pretty strong. I feel like I'm a little afraid of the Balls, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to... let's put our Tarantulas together. And let's put our Marksman also maybe near the Tarantula. I think we also give ourselves... To start, I don't think it would be a great idea to make a Saber at all. That's single deployment, and we also... Right now, I would say we need something to buy us time. Crawlers will definitely get killed easily by Hounds, but if the Crawlers can stay alive for a second against the Steel Balls, that could be a huge difference. That could be a huge difference at whether the Tarantulas get locked onto or not right away. Okay, let's actually put this Crawler pack here, it's fine. So we'll put this Crawler pack in the back, so these Crawlers don't run in and die too fast. Actually, you know, let's do this, it doesn't matter. Just put them behind the tower, it's fine. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna, the tower is nice because they spread the Crawlers out. The Crawlers will run left and right around the tower. You can do this also behind a Tarantula, but we don't want the Crawlers to go too early, which is why I'm kind of debating where I want to put them. But behind the Tarantula is not too bad because they're going to run faster than the Tarantula, so there's a good chance Crawlers will get in front of the Steel Balls and hopefully keep us alive. One Steel Ball locks onto my left Tarantula, but we get the kill before the Steel Ball kills the Tarantula, so we're getting rid of a lot more of the Crawlers. I want to keep the Tarantula alive as long as possible, but at the very least, as long as they can kill the Crawlers, that's all that really matters. And then the Marksmen are wonderful if they can just shoot at anything that's not a Crawler. They can one-shot a Hound and two-shot a Steel Ball. So, you know, these things are not bad. But I would say right now in this situation, our opponent has a lot of DPS in the form of these Steel Balls, and at the same time, they're kind of hybrid with a lot of tank ability. So we just need to really control the Steel Balls, and our board's gonna look a lot safer. Okay, what do we have? Stormcaller, Wraith. I'm not afraid of a Wraith, but I could take the Wraith myself and just buy one Wraith this round, and we can make an air unit that he can't attack, but if he makes anything that can attack it, it could die pretty easy. And the reason why I say that is because we don't have control of the fight right now. We were just talking about how we need to control these Steel Balls, and right now we don't have it. So if we only do it with an air unit, it would control it as long as he doesn't make something like a high DPS anti-air unit like a Marksman or a Phoenix. But there's a risk involved there. So I'm going to probably avoid this. Deployment module. I don't think we necessarily need a deployment module. I think it's okay. I think what we could do right now, like Stormcaller as well. Stormcaller is not the greatest when we're shooting at really fast units. It's okay. We don't need extended range either. That's just gonna make them miss even more often if they're shooting even further away because there's more travel time. So let's go ahead and skip. Let's just skip and allow our units to, you know, give ourselves more money. So now with that extra 50, we can do something like this. I can actually get a 200 cross unit, and then get two 100 cross units with now a mass recruit because we had 450. So we bought 3 units that were worth 200, 100, 100, and then we got, you know, the additional deployment slot, which is worth 50. All of this is possible with 450. All right, we're gonna now put Tarantulas kind of spread out And now we have more crawlers to block out the steel balls, and we have more. We have one more tarantula now too to also grab this area that needs to be AoE'd, so my marksman can be more effective. This also kind of protects the right tower because it's further to the right, but we know for sure we can kill that squad right there. So this is looking a lot nicer. We should have a much nicer engage overall this round. So our tarantula aren't getting locked onto super fast, and they're not getting swarmed by every direction super fast. So things are looking pretty decent here comparatively to last round. Our opponent also took fangs. These are level 4 fangs, so they were worth a lot of experience. Both my tarantula in the middle just leveled up, which is nice for us. And the fang was a drop, so he chose fang because, or no, he got the elite fang thing, so he purchased those for expensive. He got the elite fang card, so he can make even more of those if he wants to. All right, Void Eye would help kill the steel balls even faster. Phoenix would also help kill the steel balls, but it would also help kill the Wraith if our opponent takes a Wraith. We have no anti-air on the right side of the board, so if our opponent wanted to put a Wraith over here, this could be a big problem. If he puts a Wraith on the left side, our marksman should be enough to kill it. We have 3 of them all in one area, so there's a lot of anti-air DPS in this quadrant. So we have everything kind of covered, like AoE covered, single target covered. This whole area of the board's really covered between mostly the marksman and the saber. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's just grab a Phoenix. This now gives us air cover in the right side of the board. We'll put a saber tooth in kind of like the middle of the tower, and we'll put one more tarantula over here. And now we have the right side of the board covered with AoE. We have the right side of the board covered with single target DPS. And then we can get one more crawler pack here. And now we have the right side of the board covered with more time. Maybe even move it a little bit more to the right like that. So now we have a very aggressive board. I don't know what else he's going to fill out here, but we'll see, right? But left side of the board's doing great. We also get a big power spike on left side because our AoE is now getting upgraded, which is going to make us kill his hounds even faster, and it's going to make us one-shot his hounds instead of two-shotting them, and then it's going to help us really get through the steel balls faster too. He took a bunch of Void Eye, so now his DPS is very high over here. Just got to be really careful about that. Getting range on Tarantula would be a great thing to do right now because we want to make sure our Tarantula are not dying, because our Tarantula are pretty important. This guy's army is all chaff, almost, like it's so much chaff. So we really want to make sure the Tarantulas aren't getting killed too easily. Range would be a huge upgrade for us. Because keep in mind, he has elite fangs. That's a huge investment of money. So next round, we're probably looking at getting a range upgrade on Tarantula. Just to, not only makes me kill him faster, which protects my crawlers longer. So we AoE down his units that are killing my crawler, but it also gives us the ability to keep our tarantulas further back in the fight because they start shooting at an earlier time since they can reach further, so they don't go as deep, and it's harder for them to die to things like Void Eyes, and it could really turn the tide of the fight throughout the fight right there. Okay, here's something that's really nice. Here's a nice little trick, okay? I think Ion Blast seems nice. It's all nice and good and all, but if you realize your opponent is running into you and they're running into the line, if they're running into it or they're running over it, and you know for a fact your army is going to be the one that is defensively absorbing your opponent, it's a great idea to think about things like Acid Blast. Same with oil. You could do oil as well off of the tower. And the reason why they're so good is because it says it lasts for 2 rounds. And it's such a big debuff. So if I put this thing on the line like this, our opponent will not be able to block it, simply because it's too far forward. You cannot put a barrier across the board. You can only put it against the board, and it's a circle, so it also can't reach blocking out these shots because it, like, unless you put barriers like, we're talking like that, right? Like, no one's going to buy barriers like this. This is so expensive to buy barriers like that. It's too much money. And you might not even be correct, and you might just have a bunch of barriers that get killed really easily, and you've just wasted all your money. So Acid Blast is going to really help us get through this army. We're going to get range as well on my Tarantula. And let's get a little bit more time on a couple more crawler packs that just kind of come out late. And just, again, buy us more time. So we have another wave more time in this vertical placement, and this is his biggest part of the board. And now you're going to see the Acid Blast and what it's capable of. These units are going to die so fast. What happens when a unit has an effect by acid is they take 250% additional damage from all sources. And then they also lose like 3% of their health every second while standing on it. So the percent health damage could be nice versus like a really big unit, but the increased damage taken is insane for everything because you just basically almost one-shot all the units you're even looking at. Like my Tarantulas were two-shotting his steel balls right there, which is ridiculous how fast we just got through his army. So the nice thing too is that poison lasts for 2 rounds. So I have it again, and it's only got a 4-round cooldown, so I'm gonna have only 2 rounds to wait on it once it's gone. Since it's here again with 3, it'll be gone next round, and there'll only be 2 rounds left I have to wait. So if he doesn't block it again, which he can't, I could use it all over again in 2 rounds from now. And it really, as you just saw, it really devastates rounds pretty hard. There is counters to this, like if we forced out Fire Extinguisher, that's always a possibility. But that's nice too, because Fire Extinguisher is the same cost as the acid we just purchased. And on top of that, we still got a round win out of it that was pretty huge. And now it adds like tempo to the game that's like in our favor. We got another level up on this Tarantula because of that. Like everything is looking good for us right now. It's looking pretty nice. We don't really have AoE anti-air AoE ability right now. That's the only thing I think we're lacking out of this. I think we could use Siege as well, but again, we're gonna maybe miss. Like this has less range than the extended range card, but still, I feel like the best card here for us probably is just the Mustang. Nice thing too about Mustang is we could always, realistically, we could turn on anti-missile on this unit too if we wanted to, if our opponent were to do something like get missiles himself on Stormcaller. All right, so we'll go ahead and leave the Mustangs for now. We're not going to do anything with them. We don't want to premeditate thinking what he's going to do and then he doesn't do it. So let's just chill out. Let's go ahead and upgrade my Tarantula with high explosive because it'll make our AoE insane. And let's give ourselves like 2 fangs and just put them in the back. So now we have a lot more ability to fight against air units if they exist. And we also get to see what he's going for. He's going for hackers. So... and hackers and rhinos. So I would say something more like maybe more Phoenix would not be the worst idea. Just to like be able to actually kill the hackers and not be hacked at all. And whatever does get hacked can die really fast. But more chaff also would work here. As long as we just aren't getting hacked on our big units right away, it'll be fine, because our Tarantulas are very powerful. They're very strong. And our Tarantulas are still leveling up. All like multiple of them just leveled up again. Super heavy armor or a power system? I feel like super heavy armor is really, really, really strong. It's going to make it really hard for a hacker to hack anything right now, if that exists on one of my units. Let's just go ahead. A power system also is really good too. It would make us just walk into him faster. And walking into him faster also is not a bad thing. Yeah. We want to make sure we're not getting hacked by the hackers. So either one of those is really good. But I'll just go for super heavy, super heavy armor. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's put it on my big Tarantula over here. Now this thing has 100,000 health. Let's level my Tarantulas. I'll level my Phoenix just so it increases our DPS over here as well. Let's get ourselves 3 more crawlers this round. And let's just put 1 in the front, 1 in the front, and 1 in the front. And the reason why we're doing this is so that, again, we can block out hackers. We have a crawler pack going to the hacker, crawler pack going in front of the hacker, but not too close. And to be like, this is pointless to put them like here together. Like they're too close to be AoE'd. So spreading, like giving also like some cover too, to where if he tries to missile device one of my Tarantulas, it'll get baited into the front crawler as well. So it's like multi-purpose. We're placing this to protect ourselves from missiles that could be annoying, and also from things that could compromise my frontline units, like a hacker. Let's go ahead and level my my marksman, and this time let's go ahead and just get range and speed, and we'll go in our tower and get 1/1 upgrades. I don't think range on Mustang or range on Marksman is like, neither one of those is that impactful at the moment. I don't think either one's like super massively important. I almost think it's actually not a bad idea to have the Mustangs running in front of the Tarantula right now, because they can act as chaff units for the hacker. And then we already have a good amount of DPS in the form of our Saber, our Phoenix, and our Marksman, and they're across the whole board. And we have a good amount of AoE in our Tarantulas that have range and high explosive. So our board is just like really solid. I think the thing we're weakest to right now is probably like a lot of Wasp. But if but even then, if like our opponent makes a lot of Wasp, we already do have Mustang, and we can just turn on range and like anti-air mode, and then suddenly we're not having a problem with Wasp. But we have all the quadrants, left, middle, right, all covered with all sources of AoE, single target for both ground, and again, the only thing we don't really have a great one on, but it still is, it's here, is we have like a version of anti-air, like the quadrant of covering the anti-air that needs AoE. It still is covered by Mustang somewhat, and the reason why I'm only saying somewhat and not like, oh yeah, clearly Mustangs are a good answer here, is because at this state of the board, where it's like round 6, round 7, the deeper in the game you go, you have to expect that a unit that is not upgraded and not being protected, it's not going to live either. Like if your unit, if whatever unit you have is like it's what I just explained a second ago. Like if I don't upgrade my Mustangs with range, they're actually going to run in front of what is tanking in my army right now, outside of the crawlers, because my Tarantulas are actually the tanks. Like this one particularly has over 100,000 health. But if he's got range and he's got 135 and a Mustang has 110 without any upgrades, it means it's driving in front of the Tarantula to fight. So, and then these units are going to shoot whatever's closest to it. So they're going to kill the Mustangs if his army lives long enough to do that. So if I wanted to protect the Mustangs, all I need to do is give them range, and then now they would go from 110 to 150. So they'd have 15 more than a Tarantula, and they would be standing like in that line right there behind the Tarantulas. And then, you know, something like that. But investing into like range Mustang, level 1 range Mustangs isn't necessarily like by default a good choice. Because what if our opponent shows up with armor rhinos? He made rhinos, but what if they had like armor and my Mustangs are doing literally 1 damage into just the armor plating that's just there, and they're just like a paperweight. They're doing nothing. You know, like Mustangs are not bad at all. They definitely have a lot of utility. But some boards don't always require certain units to be active, and if this board currently doesn't have missiles or air AoE units, like mass Wasp type, or like if there were like mass Phoenix or something behind there, like if you started just going mass air with something that does not have armor as well, or even if it does, it would only make sense to go Mustang if I could scale them up, so I could overpower the armor. But the point I'm trying to make is, as long as something is useful here in the air, to make this worthwhile, that would be a justification for turning it on. Or if there's missiles that I want to defuse, then it would be another justification for turning that on. Like if our opponent went for like the Stormcaller drops, it was like, I'm trying to Stormcaller your Tarantulas, then sure, why not get like range and missile interceptors so they just stay safe and shoot missiles all day, so that they can protect the Tarantulas. But our opponent didn't do any of that. He went hackers and tried to just hack the Tarantulas. So leaving Mustangs as chaff, actually. They were free as a drop, and they covered potential areas of the board, but now there's like a third option where you just don't do anything with them at all, and they actually just can kind of act as chaff units, and that's exactly what they were doing. They were going in as like a secondary chaff behind the crawler that would stay in front of the Tarantula, and like once the crawlers are all dead, the Mustangs can act as another tank for hacks and Void Eye DPS. And then behind that, we even have a couple fangs, so that come out super late. So it was that's kind of a general, again, the general theme of whatever we're trying to make sure is covered. This game, you don't have to do it this way, but this game we scaled our starter up and just carried with our starter, which was Tarantulas. And the reason why it wasn't bad is because Tarantula is good versus Hound, and it's great versus Chaff. So my opponent's starter was Hound Steel Ball Training Specialist. Okay. So automatically at the start of the game, I'm not minding it too much because we're already not bad versus Hounds with the Tarantula. However, I was scared of Steel Balls But then after the fight started a few times, like a couple rounds went by, very early in the game, our opponent chose Elite Fangs. And Tarantulas are amazing versus Chaff. And Fang, even if you want to upgrade it with like range and stuff, it still is Chaff. It always is going to have a very squishy health bar, and they stack up really, really hard. So a Tarantula excels at killing units that stack up really hard and are squishy. So we get range and we get high explosive. And with these level 3 Fangs on top of the rest of his army, but realistically, these level 3 Fangs, like this one's now level 5. I think he was training devising the Fangs as well. But yeah, these Fangs are high level, 3, 4, 5. Every time my Tarantula is killing those things, his XP bar is just like chunking up, like he's power leveling. So our Tarantulas were easy to invest into in terms of a carry that scales up, because they were just able to have so much XP dumped into them to acquire levels. So then we have a lot of our money, instead of buying higher tier units that just cost more, we invest enough money to match that value with a low tier unit and scale it upwards. In this game, it's relatively balanced between investment to power, but obviously there are certain combinations that excel when it's like a really strong counter about whatever the unit does exceptionally. And a Tarantula, again, is exceptionally good at killing Chaff. So if we're killing Chaff, we're happy. And we actually got enough, we filled in enough DPS around the Tarantula, and we filled it in as the board progressed. I didn't have to put 3 marksmen on all 3 sides at this, like, you know, middle, right, left. I didn't have to do that at round 1, because his army, if I spread out versus him spreading out, a Tarantula is not actually good versus a tank. A Tarantula is like mediocre at best versus a tank, and a Steel Ball absolutely is a tanky unit. And if a Steel Ball runs into a Tarantula probably kills 1 Steel Ball and maybe almost kills a second one, and he's already dead, because Steel Balls do insanely high DPS once they connect to the Tarantula. So we were definitely afraid at the opener of this game of spreading ourselves out too much and allowing Steel Balls to just run all over us. Even though I like versing Hounds, but if I can't even shoot the Hounds because I'm stuck on the Steel Balls, which is most likely going to happen because Steel Balls are faster, then, you know, it's like, do I have enough DPS to kill the Steel Balls? So we just stacked up our army so that we can make sure that the marksmen have as much chance as possible with multiple Tarantula that can kill crawlers. And then we have the Tarantulas being covered by all the marksmen together in case the Steel Balls are charging in first. So we have as much DPS as we started with as we can have to just shoot them out right away. Get rid of them instantly, because we started with Tarantula marksmen, and then we added 2 crawlers as our purchase for round 1. So you like thinking about like playing the towers and just having a crawler pack that can like stall for a tower is always a nice idea, because if your tower gets paralyzed by someone else playing aggressive and they just rush it instantly and they paralyze you right away without any delay, it can definitely ruin the round pretty hard for you, because you might kill almost nothing at that point. You'll just get devastated way too fast and paralyze, especially versus someone who plays an aggressive style where they play forward in front of their towers. And Steel Ball Hound is, generally speaking, going to be like that, or usually it'll be like that. But I hope this made sense. We went for kind of a standard board again, and I leaned into the advantage of what Tarantulas are, which is good versus Chaff, versus a high invested Chaff board. This is, out of all of his board, well, all the squads here, the single unit squads are the only things my Tarantulas are actually kind of afraid of. And the beautiful thing is, they're actually not even that afraid of them once they level up a little bit. Once the Tarantulas are like level 3, level 4, they're really not that afraid anymore. But all the like those swarming stuff, Tarantula looks at it, it's dead. So it overall went well. Phoenix again, also Phoenix needs no introduction. This unit is like literally, I think this unit is the best unit in the game for the single target DPS aspect of how comprehensively good it is at air and ground and survivability and everything. Like, this unit is insane. It's such a good unit. Phoenix is a top tier unit for sure. You don't even need upgrades on it for it to be effective a lot of times. Okay, one more game. We're 1498. We need one more win specifically. So, oh, it's Mr. Bitter.